Hello, I'm coming to you live from the nursery. We are currently, all of the stuff is in here, but we're painting. So, and by we, I mean me. My husband installed wainscoting. I'm now painting the wainscoting. My dog just ran by. Anyways, the plan is to do the wainscoting in blue, and then the walls, keep them like an off-white, and then we're doing like a blue stamp pattern on the walls. Again, by we, I mean me, but he will help me because I'm 7 months pregnant. Anyways. This project has taken longer than we anticipated it taking, which is fine, but I just am ready to get it done. So he's golfing today. It's Father's Day. Fun fact, I need to call my dad. That's a reminder for me. I'm going to try to find in our garage, I think there's extra cans of paint down there, and one of them should be the like base wall color of all the walls. And if I can find that, that would be awesome, because then I can just touch up the walls in here. Because they've got scuffs and stuff like this. When we bought this house 2 years ago, they told us that the house had just been repainted. That is an obvious lie. Like, it's so scuffed. Like, it maybe just got repainted in like 2005. It's fine, but like, the realtor told me that while I was looking at the house, and I was like, then why are there like red marks on the walls? Like, why does it look like this? If I can't find the color that I think matches the walls, I'm gonna go to Home Depot and buy an off-white paint. Hopefully that matches close enough, but also I'll probably just end up painting the whole thing, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but it'll be fine. And then, not this coming weekend, because this coming weekend we're going to Chicago, but next weekend I can do the blue. So that's the plan. I'll probably, if I end up going to Home Depot today anyways, I'll probably buy the blue paint. So I am really hoping that I can just find the paint in our garage that matches, because that would make my life so much easier. But anyways, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm updating this vlog because I'm going to be reading audiobooks or listening to audiobooks while I do that. I don't know. I finished an audiobook yesterday called Ghost Wall by Sarah Moss, which I don't really have to go into here. I'll talk about it in my wrap up. I did really enjoy it, but I wasn't vlogging while I was reading it. So I will think about what I'm going to read. I might read Pet Sematary by Stephen King, because I know I have that audiobook available. So maybe that's what I'll read while I'm doing my painting in here. But I just wanted to update this vlog to let you know that that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to take you with me. We're going on our baby moon this weekend. We're going to Chicago. We're leaving Wednesday and we get back Sunday. We're going to go to Drunk Shakespeare on Wednesday night, which will be very fun. It's where the actors take, like, I think 5 shots and then perform Romeo and Juliet. So that'll be fun. We're also going to eat at Pequod's, because I've heard it's really good. We're gonna go to Portillo's to get hot dogs, because I love a Chicago dog. We'll probably go to Millennium Park. We did do that last time, but last time we went was the winter. This time it's the summer. It's supposed to rain kind of off and on the whole time we're there, so part of the plan was we're still gonna pack swimsuits and try to go to the beach, because Chicago has like beaches on the lake, but we'll see if that works out. And also I'm very pregnant, so we'll see if I wanna be outside in the heat. But yeah. That's the plan. I'll let you know when I have updates for what I'm reading, and we'll just see what happens. Hello, it's Monday. I just got home from work, and I thought I would give you an update on reading, since I am about halfway through, a little over halfway through, Pet Sematary by Stephen King. And I realized I didn't actually tell you what this one is about. So, sorry. Pet Sematary is essentially following this guy, Lewis, who is a doctor, and he decides to take this job as a doctor in a small town in Maine. It sounds like he's like the town's doctor, but it's like a university town. That's the gist that I'm getting. I think he works like at the university hospital. Don't quote me on that. I know that I'm currently reading this book, so I should know, but that's kind of the gist that I've gotten. My heartburn is so bad. Lewis is married and has 2 children, Ellie, and I can't remember his son's name, but the kids are like 5. Ellie's like 5 or 6. My son's like 2 or 3. And his wife stays home with the kids. His oldest daughter is going to school. When they first moved to this town, they also have a cat named Winston Churchill that they call Church. And it's Ellie's cat. When they first move into this house that they bought, they meet their across the street neighbor, or across the road neighbor, as he calls it. And it sounds like it's like one of those 2-lane highways, like one lane goes one way, one lane goes the other, but like their house is on either side. My cousins in New Jersey lived on a house like that, where they had like a lot of land, but it was like a farm to market highway, or whatever they're called. That's what it sounds like to me. Because there's like always 18-wheelers going down the road. And their neighbor basically tells them like, watch out for that cat, because don't let him out, because a lot of animals get hit by cars in this road. And then Judd is showing them around, and in the woods behind their house, there's this place called the Pet Cemetery, where apparently a bunch of the town children bury their pets when they die. And Judd tells them that like he buried his dog there when his dog died when he was a kid. And this guy's like 85 years old. Like, he's a really old man. So that's like the basic setup. And then what happens is the mom takes the 2 kids for Thanksgiving to her family's house, because Lewis doesn't get along with her family, so he doesn't go. And he spends a bunch of time with Judd. And then one night, Church gets out, and Church gets hit by a car on that road. And Judd takes him to this other place to bury the cat. And the other place makes the cat come back to life, but he's not quite right. So that's like the horror element of Pet Sematary. I'm not gonna lie to you. The thing that I remember most about Pet Sematary, because I've seen the movie, is the depiction of Zelda, who is the childhood sister who died when they were kids of this guy's wife. That's the scariest part of the movie by far. And then there's another thing that happens just past the 50% mark. And I don't know if it's a spoiler to say what it is, because it happens so late in the book, like so much later than I thought it would happen. But that part has happened now. And that's like the beginning. The book is divided into like part 1 and then part 2. I don't know if there's a part 3. I haven't like looked ahead to see, but I'm on part 2 now. And essentially this book is like a grief horror, which I'm enjoying, I guess. I have read several Stephen King books. A lot of them I like his concepts, but I don't always love his execution personally. Like he had that vampire book that I really didn't like. Carrie I thought was fine when I read it. I really enjoyed The Stand, but I hated the ending. But the whole like journey of reading that book I really enjoyed. It's so fucking long too. It's ridiculous. And then I really enjoyed 11/22/63. But like that book, my biggest critique is that it felt like Stephen King wanted to write a book set in the 60s so that he could use his usual like misogynistic racist language and have it be normal because of the setting. So no, like Stephen King is a much more successful man than I will ever be, but I just don't think his writing is fully for me. All of that to say, I am enjoying this one. It's feeling like it'll probably end up being a 4-star. Like, I'll probably say I liked it. Oh, The Shining. I have also seen and read The Shining and felt meh about both experiences. I don't find The Shining very scary, and I don't really understand why people do, to be honest with you. Sorry, I think it's kind of boring. The other thing I will say, as a reader, I can't picture things, and like movies don't play in my mind when I'm reading books. I don't know how else to explain it to you. When I say like I picture something, it's not actually an image. Does that make sense? I hope so. I don't know how else to explain it, and I hope that other people also feel this way so that I'm not like talking to a wall. I know not everybody feels this way, because when I told my best friend from college that, she thought I was actually a psychopath. But I think for that reason, horror is difficult for me, or can be difficult for me, because it relies so heavily on imagery to like have its full effect, and I can't see it with my brain. I can see it when I watch it. But anyways, so that's just my other caveat. Like, I don't think there's ever going to be a book that I'm going to be like so afraid of, unless it's like a concept that's scary to me, less than like, or rather than like an image that frightens me, I guess, because I can't picture images. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm going to continue reading that. I'm enjoying it. And I'll let you know when I have other updates. Hello. I am coming here to let you know it's Tuesday night. I finished Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book as far as Stephen King books go. I've already sort of talked about, I think I've sort of talked about that Stephen King, I don't typically love anything. I don't think I've given 5 stars to any Stephen King that I've read. I just personally feel like he has this tendency to write in female characters and characters of color for the purpose of making them like either sexually deviant or really stupid or just like obstacles for his like white male hero. And I don't know, it's like the only characters he's able to give any depth ever are his white male characters. I do feel like Rachel, the wife in this one, not that she is like a perfect character or like not written misogynistically, because she is written very like kind of naively, but she's also written to be kind of traumatized by this thing that happened with the death of her sister when she was a kid. But then again, he throws in some like sexual depravity of her and the other female character who's like an elderly neighbor. It's just the thing that he does, which I'm not the hugest fan of personally, but overall I did think this was a really solid read. I really liked a lot of the imagery and a lot of the like metaphors around grief and death. I do think this book is less sad or less scary and more so just like really sad. So beware of that. I knew that going in because I've again seen the movie. But yeah, that was Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I'm glad to be done with it, to be honest with you. And I'm glad I read it. You know, I've read a couple Stephen Kings that I've like felt like I needed to read, like The Shining. And after I read it, I was like, okay, that was a book that I read. I know I have no intention of reading because I know about a thing that happens at the end of it and I have no intention of putting myself through that. Yeah, so let me know if you have a favorite Stephen King that I haven't read yet or that you think I should read that I haven't mentioned in this video. Salem's Lot is the other one that I really disliked that I read. Hated that book. But the next thing I think I'm going to pick up is Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Neuvel, which is the first book in a sci-fi series. And I'm saying this, I'm kind of annoyed with myself because I started another sci-fi duology by Sylvain Neuvel. I think it's A History of What Comes Next. Either that's the first book or that's the sequel. And I never finished that duology, but I did like that one. But this one, from what I understand, it's about a girl who, I think her name's Rose, and when she's like a little kid, she stumbles across this giant metal hand in the middle of nowhere. And the book is sort of written in mixed media format. So there's like interviews and stuff going on, I think is this one. So I am interested to read it. It is the first book in a trilogy. I don't know if it's the best idea for me to start a trilogy right now, but I'm going to anyways. It's only like 8 hours on the audiobook, and I got the audio. I read a lot of audiobooks anyways, but I find that like mixed media translates really well for audio a lot of the time. Especially if the mixed media is supposed to be like an audio element, like an interview or something like that. So anyways, that's the plan. I'm about to do the dishes and then I'll heat myself up some dinner. My husband is golfing. I feel like he's golfing a lot recently. He just got into it. And honestly, I love that for him. And then I have to pack because we're leaving for Chicago in the morning. I don't know if I mentioned, this is going to be also our like baby moon vlog. Kind of. We're going to Chicago because before I found out I was pregnant, for Christmas, I got my husband tickets to see the Royals at White Sox Stadium. Because we want to try to go to all the different stadiums. And I've only previously been to Chicago in the wintertime. So I wanted to go back to Chicago. And also, I know that Chicago has 2 teams. So we'll have to go back again anyways. But that was like the reasoning. And we've just turned it into a bigger trip because we weren't really going to have time to do another trip for a baby moon. I know a lot of people, I'm in my 3rd trimester, so it's kind of late to be doing a baby moon, to be honest, but I don't feel, knock on wood, I don't feel too bad. So I'm hoping that that stays true, while we're gone. I am sleeping worse, but that's fine. Doesn't matter. So yeah, that's why we're going to Chicago, but the game's on Saturday. We're also doing Drunk Shakespeare on Wednesday, tomorrow night. On Thursday, we have the architecture tour. On Friday, we have a free day. So I think we're going to try to go to one of the beaches, and then we'll probably hit Navy Pier. I don't know, just like touristy things for fun. But we'll see. I hopefully will vlog some, probably not all, but a little bit. And then I'm hoping to read quite a bit on the plane tomorrow. Hopefully one of my ebooks. I haven't decided what ebook I'm gonna download yet, but I'll let you know when I do decide that. And hopefully I'll read that on the plane and at the airport. And then, yeah, I'll just let you know little updates as I have them. And I'll talk to you when I talk to you. So I'm lounging in bed just because whatever, I finished packing for Chicago, getting my toiletries together. I'm tired, so I'm sitting down. And I've been listening to Sleeping Giants, and it's good so far. I don't know. I thought this was a YA book, and it's definitely not, which is not a bad thing. I think just because the blurb says that the Murphy, oh my god, sorry if you could hear him licking. He just decided to make the most disgusting licking noises. The blurb says that Rose is like 10 or 11 or something, and that's just the beginning. And then we really pick up with her when she's a PhD candidate, or she holds a PhD and is a professor of physics or something. And she's like the head physicist on this project where they're going to try to find the other parts of this like metal thing, this like metal giant that they think was deposited on Earth like 5,000 years ago. And they think that like they find like humanity has discovered the appropriate technology and like has established the right knowledge to access this giant. And then we'll find out more about it, I guess. But then we follow this, it's all interviews, and there's military members, there's scientists, there's other like people involved, but it's kind of like this like ragtag crew that's thrown together. And they have some like interpersonal drama. So this book, it's like good so far, but I'm not like as invested as I feel like I would have been if I'd read this years ago. I think this came out in 2016, to be fair. But I heard about it when I first got on BookTube, which was 2020. So I think if I'd read it closer in time to then, I think I might be more invested. The other thing I want to say is I think there's one book that's been on my TBR longer than this book had, that I still haven't read yet. And that one is The Falling in Love Montage by Kira Smith, I think, that I still haven't read. And I don't know if I'm going to at this point. It's like a YA queer contemporary romance. Anyways, it doesn't matter, but I just thought that was interesting. When I was on Goodreads moving this to the currently reading shelf, I was like, oh my gosh, this is one of the oldest books on my TBR, so that's fun. I'm finally getting it out of the way. I added it in 2018, so that's great, I think. Or maybe like 2019 or 2020. I don't remember when I started adding things to my TBR shelf on Goodreads, but I did start using Goodreads, I think, in 2018 or 2019. Anyways, that doesn't matter. Hold on one second, I want to show you something. So instead of buying one of those like pregnancy pillows, I just got out my old like body pillow, and the dogs love it. So right now Marvel is snuggling with it. Murphy snuggles with it sometimes. They will get under the covers to snuggle with it. Last night when I was trying to go to bed, sorry, don't look at my feet, ew. Last night when I was trying to go to bed, I had the pillow like laid out in front of me so that I could use it, and Marvel literally climbed on top of it to lay, and like got in between me and the pillow so that he could be snuggled by me, and then also so that he could use the body pillow because he loves it. Murphy, can you say hi? Murphy, stop licking. See, Murphy's a good boy. Yeah. Marvel's deaf, so he can't hear us, but he can feel Murphy moving around. Hi, Bubba. Hi. Anyways, I thought that was fun. But yeah, that's it. I'll let you know when I have another update at some point soon, hopefully. You wanna come get in the picture? What are you doing? Are you gonna land the pillow too? Is that a good spot for you? Okay. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna continue reading this. I think I'm gonna read a little bit more tonight. I might. I have a physical book that I started a long time ago in a vlog that I'm trying to finish up so that I can put it on my June wrap up. So I might read that since I'm in bed. Say hey, baby. Say hi, Bubba. Yes, a good boy. Yes. Anyways, I don't know. That's what I'm doing tonight. I don't really have a bedtime because our flight leaves at like 11 tomorrow, so we can sleep in a little bit, but that's it. I'll let you know when I
American Junction.
Hello, I'm coming here to wrap up the vlog because I have to edit it so I can go up tomorrow. I'm gonna start by going through like a quick recap of our time in Chicago, and then from there I will talk about the books that I read. We're in kind of a weird spot because I'm currently going through and changing up my everyday makeup drawer. So that's what's happening right now. But I just figured I'd sit and chat with you while I do that. So we flew in on a Wednesday afternoon. First thing we did was go to Portillo's when we got in. Actually, we went to the airport. We landed at O'Hare. We took the train or the L down to our hotel. We stayed at the Courtyard Marriott. It's right by the river. I think it's like River North or whatever. So that was super great. It was a fine hotel. It was everything we needed a hotel to be, basically. We got to the hotel. Then we walked to the nearest Portillo's to get a hot dog, which is very important to me. I do that every time I go to Chicago, which is only twice, but I would be sad if I didn't go. And I think we went to the same Portillo's last time. So I don't know if they're all like this, obviously, because we've only been to the one location, but it's got like a weird, like old school warehousey vibe on the inside. Like it's got a bunch of signs that make it look like it used to be a factory or something. So that was good. I love a Chicago dog. After we went to Portillo's, we walked around Magnificent Mile for a while, which was fun. Matt stepped in dog poop and he was wearing like New Balance sneakers that have like mesh on them. So the dog poop like got in the mesh, which was gross. And so he was like, I have to buy new shoes, which totally fair. So we walked around Magnificent Mile. We went to a couple different stores and he ended up buying a new pair of New Balances, which was good. Very happy that he got that. But after that, we went to Drunk Shakespeare that night. If you don't know what Drunk Shakespeare is, it's basically like a small theater group gets together and does a Shakespeare play. Most of the cast plays multiple characters. We saw Romeo and Juliet, and there's one cast member who drinks. So they start the show by doing 4 shots, I think it is. And they have an audience member come up and take one of the shots to prove that it's like real alcohol or whatever. And then just they continue with the play and someone gets a bell. You have to pay extra. You get to be the person with the bell and you ring the bell at random points in the show. And then he has to stop and do an activity. And if you think that he's drunk enough, then he doesn't have to drink more. But our person made him drink 2 extra shots. It was very funny. It was very fun. I had a great time. I went to a Mexican restaurant after that. That was at the Line Theater. And then after that, there's a Mexican restaurant. It's called, I'm not gonna remember, like something where it's like a Mexican pub or something. And the World Cup game was on, so it was like Mexico versus somebody. I'm not paying attention to the World Cup, unfortunately. So you probably know more about it than I do. But I see the occasional TikTok about it. That's the extent of my knowledge. That was Wednesday night. Thursday, we woke up and we went to Navy Pier. We went to the Roastery because they have the biggest Starbucks in the world is in Chicago, fun fact. So we went there and we got breakfast, just like a breakfast croissant and a coffee. I got a tiramisu latte, which was pretty good. I don't know if they have that at other Starbucks. I'm not really a Starbucks regular, but I dabble. So that was good. We walked around Navy Pier for a while. There was a dance competition going on, so it was funny to see like all the dance moms and the dance kids doing their thing. And then we walked around Grant Park for a while. We did go see the Bean again. We saw the big fountain in Grant Park, which I never remember the name of, but it's got like the horses and the water and it's very lovely. We saw that. I don't remember what else we ended up doing on Thursday. We had to have eaten lunch at some point. I know we had a late lunch. We ended up having a late lunch at somewhere in Lincoln Park. Sorry if you heard that burp. That was my dog. He's sitting on the bed behind me. What are you doing? Anyways, We went somewhere in Lincoln Park that's like one of the places known for the Italian beef sandwiches. Johnny's, that's what it's called. So we went there. That was very good. We walked around Lincoln Park for a while, which was fun. We went and saw the Wizard of Oz park and all of that. We did a lot of walking that day, and my feet hurt for the rest of the trip. Like probably too much walking for me. I think I walked 28,000 something steps, which is just, it's a lot of walking to do when you're 30 weeks pregnant, but that's fine. It was very fun. And I guess I was 29 weeks at the time, so there you go. But after that, that night we went to the architecture tour. So we did one of the like cruises on the river, and learned about all the different buildings. It was very fun. We did the Mandela. I think it's Mandela. I think that's what it's called. Our tour guide, I think his name is Jim, if I'm not mistaken. Highly recommend. It was great. And then after that, we did a late dinner. And I can't remember where we ate dinner. Regardless, that was Thursday. Friday, my feet hurt so bad. We woke up early and we went to Wicker Park because the plan was to do breakfast in Wicker Park, walk around and explore the neighborhood, and they have a lot of like vintage shops. So we did a record store, we did a couple of vintage shops, and then we went to Small Cheval, which Au Cheval is one of the like, it's like an upscale diner in Chicago, and it's supposed to have the best burger, but it has like a smaller offshoot, whatever, called Small Cheval, which is just burgers. And they had a really good lemonade, by the way. So if you like lemonade, I drink a lot of lemonade right now. It was very good. So I had lemonade and I had my Small Cheval cheeseburger. And then we went back to the hotel so I could take a nap and get off my feet for a while. After my nap, we went to Wrigleyville because we went to Chicago to go see a baseball game at White Sox Stadium down at Rate Field. But Matt wanted to see Wrigley. And so the Cubs were out of town. Otherwise, we would have probably gone to a Cubs game. But we just went to Wrigleyville. And the last time we were in Chicago was 7 years ago. And we met up with one of my friends from study abroad, Andres. Shout out Andres. And he took us out to bars. And one of the bars we went to was a bar in Wrigleyville that I can't remember what it's called now, but it's the one that has batting cages in it. So it was a very like fun full circle moment to go back and like see that again, I guess. So we did that. And then Friday night we went and got deep dish. Again, we were going to go to Pequod's, but it wasn't directly on a rail line. We didn't really feel like walking the it's like 25 minutes off a rail line. As I mentioned, I'm pretty pregnant and my feet hurt really bad. So at that point, I wasn't like really feeling up to it. And then we realized that there was a bunch of Lou Malnati's just like around. And it was pretty good. We got the classic Chicago or whatever that has like sausage and sauce and cheese. It was good. I don't know. I like deep dish fine. It's not my favorite thing, but you know, when in Chicago, you kind of have to do it, I think. So we did that. And then Saturday was when we had the baseball game. So we woke up, we went to a place called Holy Bagels, I think is what it's called. And we got bagel sandwiches and we walked around the river walk, which was lovely. We didn't walk around a ton, but we like sat and watched the boats and saw all the people. Like we did some people watching, and that was great. And then we ended up taking the train down to the south side to go to Rate Field. And Matt likes to collect baseball cards, so he found a baseball card shop. He's always looking for like certain ones. And I like that because I can sit down and like go through the thing and I know what we're kind of looking for. So we did that for a little bit before the game. And then we went to the game, we watched. I will say I'm glad we didn't go on Friday night because Friday night the White Sox beat the Royals 22-1. So that would have been a really just upsetting game to go to, I think, or very demoralizing. But instead we went on Saturday and it was a good game. We still ended up losing. I don't know what the final score ended up being because they beat us at the bottom of the ninth and I was feeling like kind of puny and Matt just like wasn't in the mood to stick out for the whole game and we were taking the train. So he wanted to make sure we could get on the train on the way back. So we left pretty much as soon as the White Sox scored in the ninth inning to untie because otherwise we were going to go into extra innings and we wanted to stay for extra innings, but we didn't want to stay if we were going to lose. So just because, I don't know. So then we got on the train back and we ran into this like group of guys at a bachelor party. And so Matt had a great time talking to them for a little bit. And and that was really fun. After the game, we went back to the hotel. Eventually, we went and got dinner somewhere. I can't recall where we went and got dinner, which is fine. Oh no, I do know. We got tapas Saturday night because on Wednesday night we'd been recommended a tapas place that was in Lincoln Park that had a another location right by our hotel. So we went to the location right by our hotel. It was called Baba Reba, and the one that we went to on Saturday was Little Baba Reba. So it was really good. We got a couple tapas to split, and then we went back to the hotel and we just like relaxed for a little bit, and then I convinced Matt that we should go get milkshakes. And so we walked down to this place. It's called JoJo's Shakes, I think. I don't know. They have food too. It honestly, like, the way that their menu is laid out, it kind of seemed like a place, you know, when you order on DoorDash and there are some places that are like definitely not real restaurants, but you can just like DoorDash them to yourself. That's what it seemed like. But we'd passed by it before walking, so I knew that it was a real place. So we went there and got a milkshake. I got a chocolate shake with M&Ms. It was so tasty. And Matt got strawberry with Heath, I think, and he liked his too. So that's what we ended up doing. And then Sunday morning we left. Pretty much right away. I think we'd plan on doing, we'd plan on trying to go to the beach, but it ended up being colder than we originally anticipated. So we didn't do a beach day. And we also planned, after we realized it was gonna be colder, I brought 2 swimsuits because I thought I was gonna swim a little bit. So we thought about going to the pool, but every time we went to the pool, there was just a bunch of like little kids running around, and it just didn't seem like ultimately super relaxing. So we did decide against going to the pool at the end. But it was still a really great trip. I had a great time. Matt had a great time. I think baby Ruth had a great time. So that's the last of the traveling we will be doing until Thanksgiving, which was just driving to see in-laws. Hopefully, knock on wood, everything is okay to do that. But that was our trip to Chicago. Now I'm going to tell you about the books that I read while I was there. Things first is on the plane. I finished, I don't even remember what it's called, the first book in the Themis Files, and I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. I thought it was interesting. I do think, just for me personally, I didn't love that it was fully told in interview format. And I did listen to the audiobook, and I think that helped. I think reading this book would have driven me absolutely crazy. I do plan on continuing in the series because I am, what's the word, like, interested enough in what was going on. But, and like, there's a thing that happens at the end that I was kind of like, well, now I need to read the next one because I want to know what's going on. Which, if I recall correctly, is the same thing that happened the last time I read a series by this guy. Although I think that one I liked better. That's the one, I can't remember, A History of What Comes Next, I think is what it's called. Anyways, but I thought that the Themis Files book was really like interesting. I did enjoy a lot of the dynamics because a lot of it is focused on these like elite scientists who are being interviewed about this project, but it's like a lot about their like interpersonal lives as well. And they're kind of like forced to just work together and be together all the time. And it's like what that does to people. So I thought that was really interesting. Again, I'm looking forward to continuing in the series, but I didn't like absolutely love the first one the way that I felt like I might have if I'd read it closer in time to when it came out. But okay, I read that, I finished that. I also read Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes in its entirety. So I started it on the plane, and then I just continued listening to it every morning while I was getting ready, and then I finished it on the plane out of Chicago. And that is the first book in a series. It came out in 2012. It's a YA fantasy series, and it follows these 4 different perspectives, and it's people from, there's 3 different kingdoms, and one of the kingdoms is basically like kind of tribal in nature. It's one of the characters is from there. He's a really poor guy. His name's Jonas, and Jonas at the beginning of the book is shopping in a market with his siblings, and his brother gets stabbed by a like lord from one of the other kingdoms. I think the lord's name is Aaron, but don't quote me on that, okay? Aaron is betrothed to the princess of that kingdom, and she's one of the other perspectives that we get. I think that kingdom is called, I can't remember. Never mind. I don't remember the names of any of the places, but there's like the chieftain kingdom that Jonas is a part of. The princess is in that one, And then we also follow the prince and I guess princess of the other one, his sister. And it's Lucia and Magnus. And Magnus has a weird incesty crush on his sister Lucia. I'm gonna let you in on a secret that the reader knows the whole time, but Magnus does not know. She's not actually his sister. So the reader knows the whole time that she is this baby that in the prologue of the book, there's 2 witches who are sisters. And one of them has this premonition, prophecy thing. She like dreams up a prophecy that this baby who is supposed to have like all of the elemental magic. So instead of usually they just have like wind, or not wind, just have like earth or water or fire or air magic. This one baby will have all of the elements. Okay. So she'll be like the most powerful sorceress of all time. And these 2 witch sisters go and find her to steal her. And then one of the witch sisters kills the other witch sister to take the baby as her own. And she takes it to this palace to be raised as Magnus's sister in this like kingdom. The reader knows that the whole time. The characters do not know that. Okay. So it's a little interesting from that aspect. Like the whole time I was kind of waiting for that to come into fruition. It's still very uncomfortable to read Magnus's thoughts about his sister, who again is not his sister, but he was raised with her and thinks that she is his sister. So that's like the main reason that it's kind of like uncomfortable. Also, they did a study. I'm not going to remember any of the details of this, but I thought it was interesting when I heard about it, like in real life, that being raised with someone has the same like impact as being biological siblings raised together. Like foster siblings raised together, it's very rare if you raise them from like a very young age for them to be able to have like any kind of like physical attraction to each other because they are raised as siblings. So I thought it was interesting that that didn't apply here, but again, they're not really siblings, but it is just so uncomfortable to read. This one I also gave 4 stars. I was very intrigued. I think this is like a 6-book series, and I mean, I think it's finished now. It came out, the first one came out in 2012, and I think they just came out yearly after that. I don't know why this was on my TBR to read, but I'm glad that I'm starting it. So we'll see how it goes. I do plan to continue to read it. And it's the Fallen Kingdoms series, and the first book is the Fallen Kingdom. Fallen Kingdom? I can't remember now. It doesn't matter, I guess. But I think the elemental magic thing is cool. There's also this like, I don't know if it's like, there's religions. There's 2 goddesses that on either side. Cleo is the princess whose guard or betrothed, sorry, not guard. Her betrothed killed Jonas's sibling. His brother, I think his brother Thomas is who was killed. That doesn't really like, that like shows why the characters have such disdain for each other, because the Chieftain Kingdom that Jonas is a part of and the like Prince Magnus and Lucia kingdoms are both really poor, and the kingdom that Cleo comes from is very wealthy. And so Cleo, her sister is sick and she has to go into the poor kingdoms, and then she ends up getting kidnapped by the poor people. This isn't spoilers. This is just like stuff that happens. So that's part of it. But she goes there because there's this like religious group called the Watchers that are supposed to be these like ancient beings that can only come to Earth as owls. But there's this myth in their religion that one of them traded immortality for love and came to Earth to live as a mortal. And they have magic. So Cleo needs this magic because her sister is sick. So she goes in search of that, basically. I don't know if I'm explaining this well at all, but it was very good. I had a good time. The kingdoms have a lot of like strife, and so there's a lot of like political intrigue about like who's going to work with who and like why working together might be a good or bad idea. And then even within like Cleo being betrothed to this Lord Aaron guy, there's like political stuff about what that does to like bolster the kingdoms. There's also like economic intrigue, question mark, if that makes sense, because the kingdoms can make this like really good wine. And so one of the kingdoms has like a ton of purchasing power from having access to this wine, but then it's like stuck in an embargo. So like there's a lot of stuff going on in this, especially for a YA fantasy. I was very impressed by all of that. But again, I gave it 4 stars, and I do think I will be continuing in the series at some point. I should really not be starting a new series. It's something I have so many series I need to finish. So hopefully at some point I will do all of that, but I'm glad that I read this one too. And then I also started a standalone book, but I have not finished it. And it's called Miller's Valley by Anna Quindlen. This is a historical fiction book, and it's primarily about this girl Mimi and her family who have lived in this place called Miller's Valley for like generations. And now the government wants to come and remove a dam and fill the valley with water. So her family obviously would be displaced by that. And that's like kind of what the book is about. So it's a little bit about like her family's history in this place, and then also about like them trying to fight against this government thing, them trying to fight against this like government decision. And there's a lot of like city hall meetings, but it's also like about their history in this valley. So it's good so far, but I haven't gotten any farther in it than that. And I think that's the last of the updates I have for you. I know I've read other things since then, but I'll talk about those in my wrap up. Those are the last things that I think I read while I was on my trip. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you've read any of these books, let me know in the comments down below how you felt about them. If you'd like to, you can subscribe to my channel. I do try to post every week, and I will see you in another one. Bye.